Okay, welcome to the 1090 podcast. I'm here with Jessica Mays. That's off memory. Jess, you're from Colorado.
Yeah, born and raised in Grand Junction.
And you drove this morning?
Yep, we drove this morning. Only a couple hours, like 3.5, 4 hours.
That was me. I drove from St. George.
See?
So we're both a little tired. We got some coffee in us. We've had some laughs this morning. You guys are, I'm excited to have you on because you are happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But like what I mean by that is, I don't know, our podcast gets pretty heavy. And I don't know, you seem to have a lot of hope, and I was just kind of going through your Instagram this morning, and I really like it. It's just full of positivity, and we'll talk about more of that later. But I'm excited to have you on. I think I need to talk to people like you more often.
Okay, well, I'm excited to be here, and
yeah,
I think that's the part of it, right? Like, there's light in the darkness, so.
Yeah, sadness feels so natural and so normal with it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to try. Like, it's just there. Like, the happiness, there's like a lot of effort involved, and a lot of it carries guilt and questions like, do I deserve this?
Yeah.
I think that's hard for a lot of people, or at least me. It's been hard to feel worthy, to feel happiness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. I mean, it doesn't come quickly. Right. It does take effort, and I think the grace of time. But again, it's a choice, right? We have to choose which area we're going to land in.
Yeah.
And to me, it always seemed more rewarding on the other side, where to find lightness and happiness and laughter, peaks of joy in it all.
My wife, Courtney, was just everything you just said with all that stuff. So I think what I'm learning through the podcast and talking to people is sadness isn't the only way you can connect with them. I think you always will. And I think you're still sad in some ways probably, but you're also still connected with gratitude and joy. That is something that I need to work on. And grief is weird because it's something you can't fix. Like, you can't really do it right or wrong. Like, there's not these steps to follow. But then at the same time, I do feel like it does require some effort and like some courage to do it, type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird thing.
It's a weird thing. I always say the word weird like all the time because I'm not sure how to describe these feelings because they are very unique and special and whatever. But no, really, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
The emotions that come in. I do some grief management work with people, and I believe like my whole metaphor and my whole viewpoint of grief is stained glass. Like these insane broken pieces that like of our life that we have to build back together, and we get to decide how that design looks and how we place them, and some of those pieces will stay and some of them are removed, and over time like it can shift and move, but like there's always light that comes through the stained glass, and that to me is like the hope and the laughter and the joy that in the brokenness we get to also exude.
Yeah, and like if we can't kill ourselves and we have to stay here, we might as well.
You might as well.
Because
like that was a thought, right? Like that was definitely like this was not all light and happiness.
Right.
Overcoming this, like there was places for sure, especially in compounding grief, as you know, like that I was like, what guilt? Like I chose to stay. Like, should I have chose to stay? Or there's times where there was moments of actual consideration of suicide. And there was so much life left to live, and there was so much of them to bring with me. And I was like, if I'm not here, who's going to know them? Who's going to love them? What was their life going to be worth? If I'm not here to share that, and if I'm not here to make sure that they are known and seen and remembered.
Is it more of dwelling on past memories with them, like what they used to sound like, or is it more of what would life be like today with them? Or is it just a combination of both?
I think it's definitely a combination of both, especially like having now been remarried and have children now. there's like, it's like a very conflicting and beautiful, like, I wonder what it'd be like. Well, I mean, it couldn't be, right? It couldn't be both and.
Yeah.
But like, I think about how my husband Casey and my husband Jodi would have gotten along, how they were similar.
Oh my gosh,
different.
me and Sammy, I talk about this with Sammy all the time. Like,
Yes.
you and Courtney would be best friends.
Yeah, like you guys would actually totally get together and like enjoy each other.
So how does Casey handle that? Because I think that's rare to find someone who's like comfortable.
No,
enough.
exactly. I think it's a very, my best friend calls him a unique unicorn. Like that's what we got labeled as when we started seeing each other, because I think it takes a very strong and comfortable in who they are person. Secure, yes. And
like you have to be, which I think might be easier for girls, or maybe Sammy just makes it make it look easier, but like to find that in a guy, I think it might even be more rare. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is very rare. And I think, and I actually have some experiences with other widows that it is hard for their relationship, you know, and their new relationship. And I think it takes a very secure person. I think it also takes an honest and vulnerable conversation ahead of time of expectations being laid, right? Like this
like at date number 1.
Literally.
I'm going to be crying and talking about this guy named Jodi sometime.
Yep.
So
yeah. There's going to be pictures on our walls.
Wow, yeah. No, but you have to tell them because like they're not coming down.
Yeah. I'm like really close with his parents. Like they're my parents.
Wow.
And so we're going to go to Christmas over there occasionally and we're going to spend time with these people. And so I think part of that too is being secure in yourself, like what you want to carry with your grief and those that you've lost, and being secure enough to say, this is a non-negotiable for me. And unfortunately, if that doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit. But somebody, for me, I'm a huge believer, right? So God is my center, my everything. And so I'm like, God will provide me with whom's supposed to be in my life next, if there was somebody. Because at one point I was like, no, I'm not getting married again.
Oh, man.
Definitely not having kids again. None of that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the Lord was like, you're actually incorrect. And here's the person. And he works. And I'm like, what? But it does.
Before Jodi died, before Courtney died, I thought, I'll never date again. I'll never. She died and I was probably dating within a month or so. Like I couldn't be alone. I couldn't, man. I couldn't do it. And so like that judgment, like going through that process, like really impacted me. Like, wow, like I just really got to let go of any judgment I have because I thought I'd act one way and I reacted totally in a different way. I don't know when you started dating again, but.
Well, it was kind of like honestly convoluted a little bit because we met the month after Jace and Jodi passed, and he just like became integrated in like our friend group. So he was just like present and around after that. So like I'd met him and then we just became really good friends, which I think similar to like dating, like there wasn't a place where I felt alone or needed, like I didn't need a partnership in another way at that time because I had a really great community. And then he kind of was just a placement of a really good friend that happened to be like a strong male, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so I feel like it didn't have to necessarily go right to that affectionate dating not replacement because there's never been a replacement, but like that need for that extended relationship yet. But it grew over time. And then that's, when he... because he's sitting right here, but like when he was like, hey,
Casey
listen.
is here, so we can't say anything. That's why we haven't said anything bad about him.
But I remember when he came to me and was like, listen, I've been praying for God to remove these feelings I have for you. I've been asking him to please take away the love that I have for you because I wanted to be a good friend. I didn't want to place me falling in love with you on you during this time of your grief. Like that's heavy. And he's like, but I can't, like, I'm in love with you. Like, I love you. I love the person you are. I love your whole story. I love Jace and Jodi. And so, yeah, this is how I feel now. And that's actually when it rocked me more than anything. It wasn't the idea, I think, leading up to it. I was just sure that it wasn't going to happen and that's fine. I think it was the moment that like I had a realization that I was like, oh, actually, I think I do have feelings for you. And then the guilt came, and then the shame came, and then the judgment on myself, but like really from my community came that I was very unexpected. And that time of my life was one of the harder parts, and even right after the boys had died. That time of like figuring out how am I going to move forward, and like how the world was trying to dictate what that looked like. And I was like, that was the darkest time for me.
Yeah, the expectations. And I think maybe the most uncomfortable one is just this timeline I think other people have for you. Like, okay, like she's still caught up on that.
Oh, yeah.
She's still sad about, like, it's been a year, it's been 3 years,
Yeah.
it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years. I'm sure she's fine.
Yeah, it's like, well, and the timeline is weird, right? Because I think about when the boys died, the world plays such an insane timeline on you to like, okay, they died. Now you have to prep, you have to prepare, you have to make plans, you have to have a funeral, you have to decide all of these things within a numerical timeline.
Are they donors?
Yeah.
Are they, like, all these
And you're
questions?
coming
just
at
like,
you.
I don't know about you, but you just feel like you're second guessing yourself because
Everything.
you don't trust anything right now
Yes.
because your world's blown up. So like you don't think you're making the right decision. So you can't. It's just, I don't know. Should I? You just don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do. And I think as younger people who have experienced now, like, losing spouses and losing children, you talk about prep and plan, right? Like now I'm like telling my in-laws, like, you have to have a plan when you die. Like, what's your plan ahead of time so that we don't experience this when you do pass?
Yeah.
Because like that's where it gets really hard. But as a 24-year-old young woman that had just lost her child and her spouse, and I did not have very strong parental supports of my own, and people are just like coming at me. I mean, I was like drowning. It felt like I was drowning. And like then I was like second guessing everything. Yeah. I remember like the very last piece, they're like, okay, you need a headstone because the boys are buried together. And so they were like, you need a headstone. And I just was like, no. Like that was like my line. I was like, I cannot do a headstone right now. I need to just wait. Like, because it was like it was like representation of them, right? Long term. And I'm like, I just couldn't. And I had to like literally be like, enough. Like, I just need a minute, like enough. Because it was so much up to that point that I was like, I can't. So like that timeline happens where the world immediately presses on you right in the midst of your heaviest grief, how things are supposed to be. And then they turn around and say, aren't you done with this yet? Or this is too soon. How dare you consider dating?
You can't win. You can't win. She needs to move on. Oh, she's moving on too fast.
Yeah. So yeah, the world definitely presses on those of us who have had loss, their timeline, and the other thing is people don't know what they don't know, and that's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
Like I can be like, you don't know.
That's why they keep saying it, because we don't get mad at them because we know they're trying, and they just keep doing it. They're in a better place or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, the words, because I'm a believer, and so when people would be like, this is God's plan. I'm like, no, see, but it wasn't. So we're going to just go ahead and let that go. Oh, God needed them more than you. Actually, he didn't. He's actually sufficient without them, but this is where they are, and I'm grateful.
Just don't get me started. Okay. Well, let's read this obituary because I have many more questions, but I feel like we need to hear the story, and then we'll go from there. Jodi Lee Safronic Ream and Jace Lane Safronic Ream, father and son, passed away on November 20th, 2014. Jodi was born on October 9th, 1987, the last addition to the large family of Carl and Susan Ream. Jace was born to Jodi and Jessica Ream November 11th, 2010, the first and only child. Jodi always liked playing and working outdoors. He graduated from R5 High School in 2006. He met his future wife, Jessica, in 2002. After a long friendship, which turned into a loving relationship, they were married July 10th, 2010. Jodi was passionate about working in the oil fields as an operator for Monument Well Service. He moved up quickly in rank despite his young age. A tragic work-related accident caused him to be unable to continue to work. Shortly after this, he and Jessica married, and the light of their life Jace was born. Several people close to Jodi remarked the sparkle returned to Jodi's eye the day Jace was born. This small little boy brought such joy to Jodi and all. Jace was never far from Jodi, and it was rare to find Jace sleeping anywhere other than on his daddy's chest. Jace was also known as Papa's boy, as he loved to ride around with his Papa Carl. Jace would also get a ride whenever he could with his uncle Raleigh. Sorry. For Jodi, they were the happy threesome running around town on errands. Jace found himself a second home with Aunt Lindsay and Uncle Richard. Jace loved to play with his 4 cousins, Brant, Gabby, Annabella, and AJ. Jace loved to go to Papa's Mountain to run wild and free in his boots and underwear whenever they would let him. Jace had the most loving heart. He was impish to the point that when any of his uncles came around, they would be reduced to little boys playing. Jace loved wholly and with intensity all the people that passed through his life. Jace loved to help no matter what the chore. Helping wash dishes, everyone ended up wet but happy. Helping pick up nails or screws from the driveway, or holding them when they were needed on the project. Jace had a fine grasp of language. He could bring laughter to any given situation. Both Jodi and Jace shared a love of family and home which was centered on Jessica. They both easily shared their world with family and friends.
Life's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it.
Okay, Jess. Where do you want to take us to where do you want to start with this?
Well, I'm going to start from the beginning. Jodi and I dated our end of our senior year in high school. We were friends all the way through high school. He was actually my first kiss in high school. Not my first kiss, but like my first kiss in high school in a closet at a party.
Spin the bottle?
I think it was like 7 minutes in heaven.
Oh.
And got busted by his dad and got taken out of the closet and then taken home. So that was my first time with my in-laws, actually. So yeah, great story there. But we then started dating the end of my senior year. He really pursued me, and I was like a no boyfriend girl. I was like, I don't want to date anybody. But Jodi was like this very intense country boy, super tall, super thin.
Worked on an oil. He has
a whole family, all of his older brothers. So like he's one of 11 and the youngest, and because all of his older brothers worked in the oil field. So he went to an alternative high school at the end of our senior year and graduated early so he could work because, I mean, in 2006, that was like kind of booming time for the oil field in Colorado. And so he could make a lot of money. So he worked part-time and went and started work pretty quick. And then, like it's like the obituary said, he actually got into a pretty intense work accident in 2010. So I had to start from here because I think it's like the details matter, right?
Yeah.
Of our stories. And I was pregnant already before we got married. I got pregnant with Jace, and it was like Mother's Day. It was like May. And so it was Mother's Day, I think. And I went to the hospital because I had bleeding. And I remember the doctor came in, and he was a residential doctor, and he was awful. And he was like, you're going to miscarry. You're not going to have this child. This happens to a lot of women. It's something that is normal. You need to kind of move forward from it. Like he was awful. And then I had this amazing nurse. Her name is Annie, and she was English. And she kicked him out of our room. And I was young. I was 21. And so this British lady was like, get out. And she kicked out the residential doctor.
That is awesome.
And she was looking at me and she's like, listen, 50% does not mean zero. That does not mean loss yet. Like you hold on to this and you take care of yourself. And she's like, and I will see you and we will deliver this baby for you. And I was just like looking at her and I was like, okay, okay, I'm gonna listen to her. That this is better news.
Like, you remember this 12 years?
Oh my
like,
gosh.
like, yeah.
It was such a like pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Because then 5 days later on Friday, Jodi's work accident happened. And so what happened is a piece of pipe, like on a workover rig, it goes pretty high up, and they have pipe that comes down. And for whatever reason, whoever put the pipe on it wasn't secure. And so when the pipe was going up, it goes one way and the top goes the other, but it has to be locked. And it wasn't locked. And so the pipe fell and struck him on the right side of the head and caused bruising and bleeding and swelling of the brain and serious brain injury. And so I'm on bed rest, and with my baby that they're telling me I'm going to lose. And then I get a call on Friday that my husband was being flight for life over to the hospital because he was in a work accident. And so I'm like, okay. So I remember just getting to the hospital, and like he was unconscious, and like he had been in like a short coma as they were trying to like, sedate him and make sure that his brain swelling would calm down and all these things. And so he came out of that okay, in the fact that like he was now fully disabled. And so in the way that he was like, we stayed in the hospital for about 3.5 weeks. He had to learn how to walk a bit again, how to get speech therapy and treatment back again. But he was unable to work from there on. And we went through a 3.5, 4-year-long battle of Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic and clinics all over the place. And so to try to get him treatment, because he had these episodes that they call syncope, which like your whole body kind of shuts down and he like blacks out. But like it looks like a seizure, but it's not quite a seizure, but it's from the brain damage that happened. But it takes him about 48 to 72 hours to recover every episode. And mostly he'd have daily episodes. So it'd be like a ongoing just exhaustion.
For like 3 to 4 years, he said.
Yeah. Yep, nonstop. Yeah. And so.
And you have a
And
newborn.
yeah.
You have a newborn.
Yeah, we did. So that was in May. So I almost lost them both in that week of May. And then they were both okay enough. And then we got married in July of that year. And then we had Jace in November of that year, all while all of this is like happening. And so I became like a full-time caregiver.
Double caregiver.
Yeah, and a newborn baby, my first child. And then had to work because he was on now workman's comp. And
Sorry, who had to work?
I had to work.
You had to work.
Full-time because I had to carry our benefits. So, yeah, it was a wild start.
How was that possible? Like,
yeah, his dad, honestly, my sister and his dad and his mom, Jodi's parents, helped significantly. And my brother-in-law lived with us at the time. And so Jodi's family is a great family for supporting us. So when we talk about Papa Carl, like picking them up and taking the boys around, it's because that's what happened. So while Jodi had he lost a lot of his identity, like so much of his identity. He was a provider. He was a hard worker. Like that's the life he wanted. That's what he was raised as. And then to like lose all of that, Jace became his center focus. He could still be a dad. He could give that everything that he ever had and everything that he could do, like all centered around Jace. So that kind of became his whole identity. And, I'm grateful for that. He was an amazing dad. And I'm grateful for Jodi's parents who helped us like significantly. And my sister, who was a stay-at-home mom and had 4 of her own, was like, what's one more? Like, I'll take him to preschool, he can come over. Because Jodi could only be with him for short periods of time alone because he would have these episodes. Like one time, Jodi blacked out and we had a glass coffee table, fell through the coffee table, called me, had to call 911 from afar, had to call his dad to get over there because he had fallen through this coffee table because he had blacked out and like he didn't have control over that. At one point, he almost drowned in the shower because he fell over the drain in the shower. So like there was just a lot of things we had to do to make sure he was taken care of, but also that he had independence in the way that, we didn't strip him of everything. And so, yeah, he would work a lot with his dad because his dad owns a stucco company. And so would drive around looking at all the job sites and making sure everything was taken care of. And so Jodi and Jace would go along like a lot with them when we had them.
This podcast is weird because I grew up like worshiping athletes, like Michael Jordan. And then like you meet people like you, and it's like What are we talking about in a society when we talk about like heroes and people we look up to? Like, it's a joke. Like, I'm so sorry you went through that, and
Yeah.
you were like, that's incredible. I think
Yeah.
it's also important to note that, as strong as you are, you didn't do it alone though.
No,
Like
honestly,
you and that's like you can't do grief alone.
No.
At least not me. Like, I can't. Like,
No.
I need help all the time, whether it's therapy, group therapy, podcasting, a hug. Like, I need help, man.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And like, as strong as you are and as great as you are, I think part of that is you were able to ask for help and accept that help. But
Yeah.
man, like, I can't and we haven't even gotten to the worst part of the story.
No.
Like, this is just when life was good, mate.
When life
Not
is just
good, but-
lifing, I feel like.
So how long from that accident till Jodi's passing?
About 4 years.
Okay, so
Yeah, because all that happened in 2010 and then they passed in 2014.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, in 2013, we tried to have another baby because I was like, okay, this is what's going to be life. And like, Jodi really wanted another baby. And I'm like, I can give him children. Like, if that's going to help, him and this is what our life is going to be. Okay. And we tried to conceive for a year and it took us over a year to conceive. And then I lost that baby at about 18 weeks along, which was a very intense, traumatic loss for me. The way that it happened and the way that just like all of that.
Do you want to talk about it? We have time, or
it's wild. And this sounds bad. I will say this. It's wild because I've had 2 miscarriages and then I've also lost my, child, my 4-year-old child and my husband. And so sometimes I feel guilt when you talk about grief, right? Like that I don't feel as saddened by certain deaths or losses as I do others. Because like that's just truth. I don't know how else to explain it. But I remember when I lost this baby, I was like slightly, because I was kind of like, okay, maybe this isn't for us. Like, could I have made this happen? Because I was working full time and I was a caregiver and I had a child. And I was like, maybe it's because I could, like, maybe I wasn't able to. But then Jodi was so disappointed. Like, and I don't think, obviously not in me, but like in general. And I was like, okay, then I felt like such a failure. So like, I don't even know if I grieved that baby, but more of like the opportunity that I was like not being able to give my husband at the time when I knew that that's like what he was looking forward to in life, was like being a dad. And so that hit me really hard. And I was like struggling quite a bit in that last year before they passed because I like was unable and I had to take a pause on it. He wanted to like start right again. I'm like, I need to take a minute. Like I have to heal. There's things that has to happen. And like, I had a lot of regrets after that because I'm like, well, what if I would have just started again? I would have maybe had a baby now, just once they passed, I might have had a child left. So that was a really hard time and like a really hard grasp of grief in a different way. But then in 2014, Jace's birthday is November 11th. And so we had his 4th birthday. And we always did I did big parties. It was a big party era of life. And like a whole theme. Everybody, it was always a theme, always a whatever. It was huge.
can I ask the theme of do you remember the theme?
Pirates was his last birthday party.
Wow, that's great.
So yeah, we had like a walk the plank. We had
wow,
all kinds of stuff. Papa Carl actually has like the walk the plank sign because it was like a huge plank that we painted on up on his garage as like a sign. So yeah, 9 days after his 4th birthday, he got really sick. And I thought it was just like a regular cold or like flu. I had a doctor's appointment for him. And I gave him a bath. Like, and it was like, we were leading up to his doctor's appointment. I gave him a bath. And like, I remember pulling him out of the bath and like, he had stopped breathing. His body had he's like lethargic and his body went limp and he stopped breathing. And so I yelled for Jodi out of the room and I just immediately started giving him CPR. Because, that's what you do, right? Like you think, I don't know, what that's my natural response is to give him CPR. And I was like, we became really frantic. And so Jodi, I was like, you have to keep calm. I was trying to keep him calm so that he wouldn't, because when his stress levels would rise, he'd black out. And I'm like, you gotta stay calm. So I was like giving him CPR. And I thought we got him breathing again. And so we got him into the truck and we drove like a little bit down our neighborhood. And like I was like, he's not breathing. And I got out of the truck to put him on the ground again. And I'm like on the phone with 911. And like, I just remember I couldn't like respond well. Like I didn't know what to do. And Jodi, I was like, help, like we just didn't know what to do. And like, I just remember, and I believe, again, I'm a huge believer. So I think God sent Laura, who I had been a friend of mine actually. And she was driving past on the road and she saw us and she pulled over and she took over CPR and 911 for me because I like couldn't do it. And then I remember the ambulance getting there and they were like, took him and they wouldn't let us ride with them. And I was so mad. But like, they were like, no, like we just need to take him. And so I remember us trying to get to the hospital and another neighbor had come up and was like, I'll drive your truck. Because it was just like very frantic. Jodi couldn't drive. I was unwell. And so I was like, someone needs to get us to the hospital. And this gentleman was like, I will drive your truck. And I will call my brother to come pick me up and he'll bring me back to my car. It's a random stranger. And I was like, okay. And so we get there at the hospital and I'm met with, somebody from the fire department, I think. Because I remember seeing him at the second day when the next incident. But I remember like seeing him and I was like grabbing onto him and I was like, where's my baby? Like I need my child. Like where is he when I got to the hospital? And he was like, calm down. We're like trying to calm me down. Like we're going to bring you back. I just need to ask questions to help us try to help Jace. And so him and a nurse were talking to me. And then I finally got back with him. And like I just remember seeing him and he was just like hooked up to all of these wires. And like I just remember just like, so sad. And they're like, we have to fight for life. I'm just children's. Like, we're not able to do what he needs here. And only one of us could fly with him to the hospital. So I let Jodi, because Jodi really wanted to. So I let Jodi go. And it was the longest drive of my life from Grand Junction to Denver, which is about 4.5 hours depending. And my mother-in-law, Jodi's mom, drove me. And, which is really wild. Again, you cannot do this alone and people matter. Like people matter in your life. So if I can say anything, like make sure you have the right people around you. Make sure you're listening and being aware of the people that surround you and serve and you give your time with. Because in circumstances like this, they matter. My best friend's husband, Brock, who was really good friends with my husband, Jodi, too, happened to be in Denver. And I was talking to my best friend and I was telling her this was happening. And she's like, Brock's right there. I was like, send him over to meet Jodi and Jace. They're going to be alone. When like we're not there, no one's there. And Brock met Jodi over there. And I just remember like that like was such a helpful thing for him because Brock had known Jodi's situation, could tell like the nurses about his episodes if one had happened. Like it just was like a very good support being there before family could get there. And so we get there and it was kind of like a way they were just doing a lot of tests and things. And I was there, Brock was there, Jodi's parents were there. And then I had called my friend Elizabeth, who was a pastor at the time, who I'd served with because I was in ministry work at this time. And I was like, I need you here. I need you to come here. I just wanted her presence. And she's like, okay. And so I had her come and we were just waiting there and like, Jace just kept having like, I guess like heart failure and just like they kept trying to like get like reviving him. And like it was like maybe 8 hours we were maybe there. And I remember how mad I was about the book selection. They had a horrible book selection in Children's Hospital. I'm like, what are these books? And I was like trying to read JC's books. And I was so mad about the book selection. And I was like, we'll donate books when we're done with this. That's what I kept saying. And the worst part is I remember them taking the doctors were like, we have to talk to you guys. So like took me and Jodi into another room. And they were like, if Jay survives this, his life will look different. Like he will be in a vegetative state because of the lack of oxygen to his brain. And we don't know what that outcome will be. And I remember like that was more devastating than almost anything to hear, even at that moment, death. Because I was like, this poor perfect child of mine is like, what does this mean? Like he has no life? Like what does that mean? Like I couldn't understand it. And like before we could even finish having that conversation, his alarms went off in his room. So we had to rush back to his room. And Jodi had the longest episode he's ever had of a blackout spell. I remember the nurse, they were all working on Jace, and Jodi had blacked out, and his mom was with him, and I like told the nurse, like, don't worry about him. Like, literally, like, this is normal. Let him be. And like his mom was with him, and like I remember like looking at the time, and it was like 30 seconds, which is 30 to 45 seconds were the longest he'd black out for most times. Sometimes a minute. But I remember like 30 seconds. And she's like looking at me, and it was like 45 seconds, and she's like looking at me. And like they're working on Jason. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And it was like 2.5 minutes that he had been out for when he finally came to.
Which is probably eternity in reality.
Oh my gosh.
2.5 minutes is, yeah.
Yeah, it seems quick when you're trying to get somewhere, but when you're waiting.
Watching someone, like.
And I'm watching my son, like this is like two things happening. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And like he came to, and he was a completely different person, which is so wild because I think, and I laugh about it now. It's not funny, you guys, but I laugh about it now. But I'm like, maybe I was crazy. I don't know, but he was a completely different person. He like got up and he was so calm. Like there was just like this calming sense over him, like uncomfortably calm for me. And he like walks over to me, and he like looks at the nurses, and he looks at the doctor, and he's like, I want you to pull him off of everything. Take him off of everything. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, Jess. And he was so calm. And he was like, this is the best thing we could ever give our son. And I like was like, what do you mean? And he was like, he knows nothing but love. Like he only knows goodness. He's never been hurt by the world. He's never known heartbreak. He's never known the harshness that the world brings. This is the best gift we could ever give him. He only knows of love. That's all he had experienced. And I just was like, okay. Like, okay. Like I just said, okay. And then I remember screaming at my friend Elizabeth, and I was like, read from the Bible. I made her like open and read.
You have thoughts about what happened to Jodi in those 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think that he met God. I think that Jodi had an encounter with God, the Holy Spirit, because there's no way that you would have shifted in that circumstance otherwise.
That's where my head was going.
Yeah. I think
you saying a completely different person.
Very different.
I was wondering, if he had those thoughts.
Well, and even for him to speak like that was different.
The confidence.
Mm-hmm.
For such a, maybe the worst decision a parent has to make. Like, I don't know off the top of my head, but that's got to be up there. Like,
yep. And
the
then
confidence in it.
Yeah, that was it. And I just remember kept looking at him and like looking at his mom. Like, what? And she's just like, we're both like, okay. You know, and so they pulled all of the things off of Jace, and and then like we made everybody leave, and then we just held him until he passed. And this is even wilder because I just remember I was primarily holding Jace, and I remember I was like looking at him, and like it literally like the light literally leaves the body. I've never seen someone actually pass. Like that's where they like literally what happens. Their skin color change, everything changes. Like their light leaves. And I remember looking at him and looking at Jodi, and I was like, no. I kept saying, no. And he's like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, no, because I literally watched Jodi's light leave his eyes. Like I was like, no, please stay here. Please. And I started bargaining immediately almost. And I was like, no. And he was like, no, it's okay. Jodi kept saying, it's okay. He never raised his voice again after he woke up though. Like, it was like a very quiet, controlled voice. And he was like, I was like, you can't go. And I just remember seeing the difference of both of them, their light, their coloring, everything changed at the same time in that moment, in that room. And, you know, they only give you so much time with your child. Like you can't just sit there with them, which is really unfortunate. But they're like, okay, like we have to like do things now. And so they were kind of like ushering us out of the room. And I remember Jodi being like, take her to my mom. And I was like, no, you're coming with me. Like I was afraid immediately. I was like, oh, you have to come with me. And he's like, I'll be right there. And I was like, okay. And I remember coming out, and Elizabeth and Susie was there, and I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do without them? I kept saying them. I kept saying, what am I going to do without them? And they're like, Jessica, you're like, you have to calm down. Like, it's just Jace. Jodi's right here. I'm like, and I kept saying, no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do without them? Like, I can't believe they left me. I kept repeating these words. And so people were like, you're crazy right now. She's like losing it, you guys. And so we walked out and we went to a hotel room. And I remember when Jodi met back up with us, I was like, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I kept begging him to not leave me. And I kept being like, literally, I was like, I'll give you 7 more kids. I'll do whatever you need. Like, I'll make it happen. Like, I don't care. I'll like, don't leave me. And like, he just kept saying like, it's okay. It's okay. And then, so we went to a hotel room, and then he, around 2 a.m, he was like, I want to go home. I want to go home right now. And so we loaded up in the car, and his mom drove us home 4 hours away and back into Junction. And when we got there, I just like went into Jace's room, and I just like laid in his bed, and I had fallen asleep, and I woke up again, and I remember like frantically looking for Jodi. I was like, where is he? Where is he? Like, I was so scared. And I remember Jodi didn't want anybody with us at our house. And his brother-in-law at the time his brother at the time had lived with us. And so he was the only one at the house with us. And I remember waking up and being frantically looking for Jodi. And I had found him in our room. And what I know now is like he was writing me like letters. Like he was writing all of us like letters. And I didn't really recognize or acknowledge it really at that point. When I look back now, I realize like that's what it was. And I remember I like went to the living room for a second, and I was like sitting there and just like reeling on like what had just happened in the last couple hours, all the drive and everything. And yeah, Jodi came out, and we had 2 dogs at the time, and Jodi was a big dog lover. We had his dog named Duke, who was a basset hound. It was a pain in the ass dog. Love him. They are one master dogs, okay? Jodi was his master. And so so when people are like, you didn't notice anything? I'm like, not really, because it made sense that he would go out there and see his dogs, like actually. Like that he would go see Duke. Yeah. But no, Jodi had a long conversation. He sat with me on the couch, again, like never raised his voice, and I just kept looking at him and like searching for him when I was looking at him.
Meaning like, who is this
Yes,
guy?
Meaning like, you're not here. And he was like, I think there was a lot more spoken that I can't really remember, to be honest, because I was frantic feeling in my mind. But he just said like, you're meant to be here. Like, you have to stay. The only way the world is going to know Jace is through you. Like, the only way the world is going to know our son and like the love that he was and the light that he was is through you, and you have to do this. And he was like, you were meant for this. Like, you have people that will help you through this, is what he told me. And I was like arguing. No, like, no, just stop, just breathe. Like just
you can feel like he wants to end it, or what are you worried about?
I feel like he was already gone. My thought process was that he was going to have another episode and never wake up. That's what I assumed would happen. Like, that's immediately what I was like processing. Like, if he blacks out again, he's never waking up again. That's really what I thought would happen.
And just like the context of this conversation you're having, like how many hours after you guys went through the worst thing?
It was within 12. Jace died around like 4:30 in the afternoon, and it was around, I guess 24 hours would be then, and it was around 4 something when we were talking about this.
Such a bizarre situation. Like, the context of it even is just heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't blame you for not remembering a lot of it.
Yeah, it was really intense. So he sat down and talked with me, and then again, his brother was still there in the hospital, like was in his room. And like his dad had come by that day, too, that morning, like when we had gotten back, because his dad didn't go to Denver. And his dad had come by, and like Jodi and his dad were extremely close, and Jace. And I remember Jodi apologizing to his dad, being like, I'm sorry I couldn't save him. Like, talking about Jace. And like, I think that was like, it was just really hard. It's really hard to see a man, even more than like, I think more than a woman, like break down over grief and loss. Like, when they're that broken, it's really hard to like witness. And that was a really hard moment to witness. But I remember like after his dad came, that's when like things started shifting in a different direction too. Just like behavior wise, when I think back about it. Yeah, and we had that conversation and then he took a step outside and then within 40 seconds, a gunshot happened. And he had shot himself in the heart. Yeah. I remember screaming for Raleigh, my brother-in-law, because he's the only one there with me. Because I had gone out and I had seen him. And my first thought was he's blacking out. And then my second thought, because I saw smoke from his chest, realized what actually happened and put the sound and the sight together. And we began trying to resuscitate what wasn't able to resuscitate because he no longer had a heart. And it was really intense. And I remember, like, it felt like a movie when you watch movies, right? Like, this is how movies are made from experiences. And I remember, like, it's not funny, you guys. It's not funny.
Well, you're the one laughing all the time.
I think about these things this much later, and I'm like,
It's terrible.
it's kind of wild. Like, if I was, because I was like screaming for somebody to help us, like in my neighborhood, we lived in a very, like a very close house neighborhood. And I'm like, blood curdling, screaming, help me. Anybody help me. And our neighbor, it's not funny.
Hey, laughter
Our
helps us
neighbor
through. You got to laugh or cry.
Yes, this late neighbor lady came through and she saw Jodi and she started screaming. And I was so pissed that she started screaming, get out of my house.
If anyone's
You are
screaming,
not helpful.
we got people to scream.
Yeah, like, you are not helpful. Get out. Oh, my God, what is happening? The craziest thing is all of a sudden, because, Raleigh's on the phone with 911 and we're working on resuscitating Jodi and he's like talking to them. And I remember just like after I had that panic and she came in and was unhelpful and I made her get out of my house. I just remember like falling to my knees at his side. And I was just like I just knew. I already knew before. I saw it happen before. Like, I saw him pass when Jace passed. And I just like was like, okay, this is it. And so I kissed him. And then I went inside. And then, no, I didn't go inside. I kissed him. And then the same person that met me at the hospital with Jace, the fire person, I don't know, Casey would know, he's a firefighter, but I think it's, I don't know, their battalion chief maybe, I don't really know, but it was the same guy that showed up at my house. And when he walked through my doors, I remember him looking at me in his face like he didn't know it. And I grabbed onto that man. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I grabbed onto him so hard and I was like screaming. It's like, help me. That's all I kept saying is help me. Like, somebody please help me. Like, I don't know what's happening. Help me. And I remember him looking at me, like looking over and looking at me, like looking over, like, what just happened to this girl? And then like he helped me inside. And I was like, okay. I remember just like sitting on the floor. And I'm like, I don't even know what happened after that. People started showing up. My friends started showing up. My other brother-in-law, Derry, showed up. And I remember running to him. When I saw him, I ran to him. And I was like, help. Like, again, I kept asking for help. That's all I kept asking for is just help. Anybody help me.
Just a bizarre, like, trying to communicate what just happened with Jace.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, that had to have just felt like a night, like, unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it felt like a movie. That's what I mean. Like, it felt like I was not in my own world.
And by the way, like, I'm not the best podcast host or whatever, but I can relate to someone crying about the worst thing and then laughing. Like, no one relates to that better than me. So you're in a safe spot.
Thank you.
Like, that's great.
Yeah.
I know you had to take Jace off life support. It happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even just listening to it, my brain is like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So I know you took him off life support, but what happened to him again exactly? Like,
so they just said when you're in the hospital, you're asking for like what is happening with him, and they just said that he had multiple viruses. So like they said he had RSV, flu, and there was another one, and I don't even know what it was. But that his little body just couldn't have handled it. Like he just had compounding illnesses that his body was shutting down because they couldn't handle it.
But healthy kid though, like
Super healthy.
just
Literally not one issue before.
did an episode with another lady named Jessica McKenna's, and similar story, like lost her 14-year-old son race, I think, in like 48 hours. Just, he was playing baseball, collapsed, gone.
And we never did like an autopsy.
Yeah.
Jodi was like, no. Like he just said no. I know. He was like, there's no need.
Can we talk about Jodi?
Yeah.
So I think talking about difficult things is healthy. Like, I think we have to talk about them. Talking about suicide is difficult. But I think it's worth having a difficult conversation. Where my mind is at right now is, okay, it's hard because suicide is the worst thing. Like, like, we need to stop it. Please don't take your own life. But at the same time, I should have like this understanding or this empathy for it. Like, so help me understand, like, because let's go back to the accident. Like he loses his job. He's a blue collar working. This is his identity. He provides. He works his ass off. That's what he does. Can't do that. He's robbed of it. And so now he's battling that. Like, God knows how hard that was for him.
Yep.
Like, can't provide for his family. So he's dealing, and then just the recovery.
Yeah.
Learning to walk, like, that's, I don't know what that's like. That doesn't sound great. And then, and I'm sure there's many more things we can talk about, but then to cap it off with Jace.
Well,
So it's just hard, like
a
I don't
brain
know.
injury alone changes so much. Like I don't think people understand the totality of what a brain injury can actually do to a person, because there's no healing the brain. The brain overcompensates itself by like trying to make other parts of its brain compensate for the things that's dead.
Plasticity.
Yes. And so personality changes come, which did happen. Emotional changes come, which did happen. Not to mention, like, we went through 88 prescriptions to try to manage all of this over a course of 4 years. And yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, and then knowing what it feels like to lose a child, like, it's hard to talk about because, again, you don't want to, it's hard to have it. It's just scary because if you have too much empathy with it, you just have this fear that people are just going to start, it's going to get
Being
worse.
okay. Yeah.
But like, man, like
I'd
be lying to you if I just sat here like, I don't know why he did that.
I
Like,
would be lying.
like, should have, like, so like, I don't know. I just think it's really unfair to him. And like, yeah, I just think they get a bad, like, they're just looked down as being weak, and it's just totally the opposite to me.
Yeah.
But then again, like, you don't want to call them strong because you don't want to encourage, like, it's
it's
hard.
such a hard place to be in.
It's hard.
Yeah. But because like for a long time and maybe even now, to be honest, I don't really consider it suicide. And that is also scary to say.
Well, that was the mind frame I was in. Like, you don't see it that way. You just see it like they're on the other side of the door, and you're telling me all I have to do is get to the other side of the door, and then people tell you this all the time. Like, oh, I couldn't live if I were you. I'd die.
Oh,
that's what people tell you, and the thoughts you have are like, so is that what I should do? Like,
well, yeah, the guilt that came from the fact that like I felt so bad that I didn't do what Jodi did. I'm like, am I a horrible parent because I didn't do that too?
No,
like I didn't go with them.
That's the survivor's guilt. Like, me not killing myself, that's disrespectful. Like,
did I not love them as much as they loved each other or whatever?
Go, girl.
Like, it's so not good. Like,
well
again, it's like the world again pressing these things upon us that we should or shouldn't be experiencing, or we should or shouldn't be thinking. Based on what?
Yeah.
Like research? Okay, well, I am the research thing then. Like, come study me, and I will tell you all the thoughts in my brain, and I will tell you that it's been a fight to survive them.
Yeah.
But like those thoughts absolutely happened, and I considered every single one of them, and I should have, because that's actual human response to going through things like this. And honestly, yeah, I 110% understood why Jodi did what he did,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
And doing enough episodes about suicide, you're learning that a lot of people who take their own life, they're struggling with the ideation of it. They're thinking about it. And then it takes a bad night for them to really push them over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can just get through that bad night, they might see another month, another year, or whatever. His dark night was the death of, like, he told the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
you got to end my son. Like that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry for what you guys had to go through. Life's so unfair to great people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I want to ask you about losing these two at the same time, completely different ways, and just different relationships.
Yeah.
In my brain, it's really hard for me to really even know for sure what I'm feeling. Like, am I feeling the pain of Courtney, or is that Frankie, or is that Riggins, or is that Race, or is that Ryder? It's just kind of clumped together, which for some reason gives me guilt. I don't know why, but like the fact that I can't individually grieve over them makes me feel like I'm doing it wrong or something. Anyway, how are you dealing with all that?
Well, you know, I'm not doing well with it. I think better now. Years, a decade removed from
Grief's like anything else. It takes reps, man.
Yeah.
Reps on reps on
Yes,
reps. And
yes.
it does, the pain doesn't get easier, but you get better at it.
You get, yeah.
You just get better at it.
You just
It's
learn to
like
live with
anything
it.
else.
It just
Yeah.
becomes part of it's ingrained in you, right? And I always say, like, I imagine it like it was like if I lost like an arm or a leg or something that like didn't deplete my life in 100% of a way, but like it affected it so severely that I had to rework my entire life around it. And I had to adapt and make sure that I could overcome and like still succeed. I think for me, when you asked that question about like grieving both of them, I think at the time it was definitely both of them. I understood Jodi though. So I could reconcile Jodi in a different way. The fact that like I could grasp why.
There's some understanding.
Yes. With like everything you talked about. Like I'm the one who walked with him through brain injury, through identity change, shoe shifting, all of that kind of stuff. Like, so I could grasp him more. And the fact that I knew how much he, like Jace meant to him and like that was his whole world. So for me, it made sense. And maybe because there was parts of me that did wish I could do the same thing and be with them, you know? But Jace, and even to now, I cannot grasp well. Like there's never going to be a wholeness of understanding.
Is it just the innocence of a child, or what is it?
Yeah. And I think that like, oh man, they're a part of you. Like they're like Jace, my children are me. And like, and the love that was connected to like make them. And I love my spouses. Like I love Jodi, I love Casey, but like that was a chosen love. Whereas like my child is like my gifted love. And like that is something that is like just a different type of love, I think. And I'm like angry. And like, again, I'm a big believer. And so like, the thing about it for me is that like I had hoped that like redemption would come for whatever purpose. And I do believe that like sometimes bad things happen to good people because good people are still good. And we need as much good in the world as we can get. But bad things happen to bad people too. It's just not as intense because no one gives a shit. Because that's the truth.
And good things happen to bad people.
And good things happen to bad people. And again, we're mad about it, right?
Yeah.
So like the reason why it impacts us good ones is because there's love there. And for me, it's a God thing, right? Like the Lord is with me. And like I had to like really let that set in when I was trying to understand these two deaths and what was happening to me. I remember like all the cops and stuff at my house. And like all these people started showing up, including my friends, which I have no idea how they got called, and my sister and like all these people. And actually my dad had driven up from Arizona because he knew that Jace had died and arrived like the same time the coroner arrived. And so he was like, what is happening? And I was like, this is happening. And my friends immediately again was like, what do you need to do? What do you want to do, Jess? Where do you want to be? And I'm like, what? And then I asked for my pastors. I was like, I just want my pastors. I just want my pastors. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, none of you. I just want my pastors. And they brought me to a friend's house and my pastors came. And I remember being like, you have to pray. You have to pray my husband and my son into heaven. That's not how it works, everybody. But I wanted that. I wanted that reassurance. I wanted to have something that was more and bigger and more divine than I was, that had more control than I did. And I was like, this is who it's got to go to. And I believe and I know, and I'm going to ask for this, that he makes purpose out of this. Because I'm allowed to ask for that. And I know that he will. And so I was like, immediately, that's what I got to do, because I can't do this. I cannot do this. And so my friends had also set up a prayer vigil for Jace that evening that was taking place at the park with our community. And so I was, after they were like praying over it, the prayer vigil was about to begin. And they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, why do you keep asking me what I'm going to do here? I'm like unstable. But I was like, okay, I want to go. So, and they're like, you can go to the prayer. I'm like, yes, let's go to the prayer vigil. And then I was like, and then you're going to tell them that Jodi died. I put it on my people. Yeah. You're going to tell all these people that gathered for our son that Jodi went and that Jace was made for Jodi and Jodi was made for Jace, and that you are to pray them into heaven, everybody. And my friends were like, okay. And they did. The fire truck was there from the responders that showed up to help with Jace. They had a fire truck there that was lit up with blue lights. And I just remember that. I remember being like, okay, this is how I'm going to do this, because these people showed up for me. They're coming around, like the Lord brought them together, and like he's going to help me make this divine. Like he's going to make this worth something. Don't know what yet or how, but like that's what's going to happen. And so I think when I reconciled it, it was more of like, this isn't where it ends. Our lives have purpose, and we're created for something. Whether we choose to lean into that or not, that's a different question. But it was the fact that like, I'm unwilling to let this go here. And so whatever this takes place and however long it takes place, 10 years later, then we will.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so it was probably, at the time, you probably couldn't see it. But now, 12 years later, yeah, I've never had anyone on the podcast be like, I've asked them, how do you get through grief? No one has ever said, oh, be selfish. Like, don't help anyone. That really help. Like, yeah, it's helping other people. It's giving back. How, 12 years later, how do you see yourself helping back and making purpose out of this?
I think like this, speaking the truth about what happened to me and like where it has taken me, right? Like I talk about redemption and resilience. Like that is my tagline for what's happened, because through this, I have been redeemed in the fact that like, if you're not familiar with scripture, Job is a book that I'm very, like Job and I, we're like best friends. Job is a man who was a very faithful man, one of the most faithful men in scripture and in history. And Satan went to the Lord and said, I want him. You think that you have a faithful servant? I want him, and I'm going to put him through hell and back, essentially. And he will not be for you at the end of this. And the Lord said, okay. And he put Job through hell. And like in Job, when Job lost his family and was ill and lost his land and lost all of these things, I remember there were certain parts 10 years ago when I identified with him being like, Job was like, why was I even born? Like, why, if this is my fate, why did you even have me here? And that's like a really raw thing to say in the middle of your grief. Like that is just like saying like, what is the purpose if this is it?
Well, it goes back to Shakespeare, to be or not to be.
Exactly.
Like, is this really worth it? Yes. And if you've been hurt enough, that is legit. I get it now, Shakespeare. Like, yeah. I get the question. Like that's a legit question. That like, is. I don't know if existence is worth it. Yeah. It's that bad.
Yeah. And then that's where I stuck for a long time, right? And even in the book of Job, right? Like his friends came and they were by him and they were just like talking at him. And it was like, no, don't talk at me. Just sit with me. We're all going to sit in it, whether you like it or not. And then the redemption came, right? Through the faithfulness. And I think my story is that like, we have, if we can, and if we choose to, right? This is all a choice. How we choose to receive this, how we choose to experience it, like it's a choice. And if we choose to do something good with the things that happen to us, good can come from that. And like, I have been remarried and I have 3 children, which I never thought was going to happen. And I never thought I could. And like, it is the biggest blessing of my life. So to be able to speak into them and just like raise more people in the world has been one of those areas I think that my story can tell through. But also I think finding joy and light and showing people that that is a possibility, that is a strength a lot of people they don't have. It's a really hard one.
It is hard.
And I will say, like, one of the things that I am grateful for is that I do find joy. And, like, I love to laugh. And, like, I love to play. And, like, I want people to, like, feel that in their life.
Yeah.
And, like, again, I go back to saying, like, I think that we can learn how to honor and respect and bring along our loved ones with us. It doesn't have to be a either or.
Yeah, I was, this just popped in my head. I was tucking Blue in bed, and we always snuggle every night. And I ask him the same 3 questions. I say, Blue, what do you do when you get knocked down? He says, you get back up.
Mm-hmm.
I say, Blue, is life fair? He says, no.
No.
And I say, Blue, pick a number 1 through 10. And whatever number he picks, that's how many kisses I give him. And lately, he's been picking 11. And then on the 11th kiss, I just start, like, biting his ear, blowing air into his ear, and he laughs. It's like a funny thing we do. Anyway... I'm gonna forget my whole point of this by this long story. But anyway, after that, I tell, so we're just laying in bed. I tell Blue, I'm like, Blue, one of the things I love about you, and there's lots of things I love about you, but one of the things is you remind me of Courtney, and you remind me of Riggins,
Mm-hmm.
and you remind me of Frankie, and you remind me of Ryder, and you remind me of Rafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing for you. I think it's the same thing that Jodi was trying to tell you. Like, you're gonna, I don't know if represents the right word, but you're gonna kind of honor and carry on Jace's legacy. And that's kind of how I see it. Like, I don't connect with the God thing like you do.
Yeah.
Not that, teach their own, but like, I think that's how I connect with them is just when I can laugh with someone else, that's Courtney, man. Like, it is. Or like, if I go to a cool play that someone is really imaginative and creative and they put it together, like, that's Riggins. Like, Riggins was so creative, like, just experiencing that creativity. So, like, that's just kind of how I stay connected with them. But, yeah, I think what I get from your story, too, and this is why the God thing works for me, like, meaning, if you believe in God, great, is just what it's given you.
Yeah.
Like, it's given you, it's hard to know for sure, but it seems like it's given you the exact same thing my beliefs have given me. Like, just this feeling of you're not alone.
Yeah.
And maybe another feeling we like is, oh, this has purpose to it.
Yeah.
And that's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
Because it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing. And so, like,
So bad.
if you can go speak about it or help someone and that you have this feeling of gratitude or love or connection with it, that's so much better than why me, poor me
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah. I do some speaking like victim over victor or victor over victim mindset.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, like, if we shift it into, a non-belief spectrum, like, we really have to, like, whatever it is, like, we have to figure it out for ourselves. And, like, not in an isolating way, but, like, you got to find what works for you and does bring you joy and hope and encouragement, because no one's going to do that for you but you.
Yeah.
And, like, we can sit in it in any way we want, but that's also a choice.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, and sometimes it can come across harsh, but, like, that's the black and white of it.
No, I agree. That's something that therapy, my buddy Quackenbush, like, it's just hard because, like, there's no effort with grief. Like, you don't need to, like, you're not doing it wrong. But at the same time, like, you kind of have to show up and try, Mace.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that I can, like, you have to want to feel it. You're going to have to cry. You're going to have to go through it. You're going to have to try to name what you're feeling so we can try to name it to tame it type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it does take some effort. It's just weird. It's just weird. But
Yeah, I mean, I believe in therapy all day long. I've gone to so much therapy. I've done EMDR treatment.
Okay, yeah.
I've done hypnosis with my EMDR, which was like chef's kiss. But
Wow,
I don't have that
does
therapist
sound
anymore.
crazy.
Yeah. No, it's the best. because like you do EMDR, which is in have you done EMDR?
No, but I've heard people talk about
Yeah,
it.
it's really good.
a
It's
lot.
for, you have to get a good therapist, honestly, or a good counselor that knows how to do it well. I've been through a couple that like,
For PTSD,
yeah,
right?
PTSD, yeah, or like, yeah,
Trauma, I guess.
trauma, yeah. And well, and then like over years, like, how long has it been?
Almost 5.
Mm-hmm.
This summer will be 5 years.
So there's like triggers throughout years, right? Like I don't love the word triggers, but
Yeah.
I remember having to go. I had a really, really hard time with Sawyer, who's my oldest now.
What a great name.
And he was when he turned 4. I remember it had been years difference now from losing, them to starting a new family and having Sawyer. And I was like, it was a really hard thing for me to have him anyway. It was a lot of work through a lot of things with that. But I remember his 4th birthday specifically, I was like unwell. I was super unwell. I was going back and forth about like having a birthday party, not having a birthday party. And then I remember counting day 1 after 4th birthday, day 2, day 3, day 4, like all the way. Cause like Jace said at 4 years old and 9 days. And so I remember that. And I was even now, if I think about it, like it was so hard. And I had to be like, oh, you need to there's more work to be done here, because it's like at times it'd be like disabling even now, like where I wasn't functioning healthy. And that I got trapped in that thought process or in that event again. And I have to do work now still, however many years later.
Yeah.
Because it happens like that. It's not an easy thing. It's like grief isn't.
What do? You just cry and feel it, or like what do you do in those moments?
Sometimes I get angry. I think I get angry that I have to deal with this still. Like it's frustrating to me that maybe I'm not as far along as I should be, but then I cry a lot in those moments. Or I decide sometimes, I think the other thing is like I will want to go to the people who knew Jase and Jodi, and just have moments with them, because I feel like maybe there's a missing there that like, because unfortunately like my husband now doesn't know them and didn't know them and only knows them through me, and my kids don't know them but only through me and our family. So sometimes there's a really sacred space in going with people who I can just be like, I don't have to explain it or try to like I don't build a story so that it's understandable, that they just get it. And so then I can just like be free in that, and most of the time that's crying. Sometimes a lot of the time it's laughing. And it's just like a freedom of like kind of working through that again. Like I think that's part of it. But then there's crazy things that I can't do. Like I cannot go to the gravesite.
Really?
No. I got their headstone placed 3 years after they passed, and that was good. And like I have my sister loves to go up there. Like that's a place for her to go and find whatever she needs. I hate it. The first time, probably like the year and a half after probably like right at the headstone setting, I get a kind of out of mind experience where like I literally want to like dig. I want to be like, is this real? Are they there? Is it tangible? Because it is tangible, right? Like it's a tangible thing I could like bring out again so that I am there with them, I guess, in a physical like proximity.
Yeah.
But so I don't like how I feel when I'm there. It's like a lot of people in grief will find they want to go and they want to celebrate anniversaries and things there, and I am not for that.
I think that's a good example of people grieving differently.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hot and cold with it. Sometimes I like visiting, and then I'll go months or a year maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not as extreme as you as like digging into the ground, but like I just kind of dwell on their body, like they're dead. I don't love it either. But then I feel bad for that that I don't go enough. Like you can't win.
I mean, I think it's heartbreaking with one child. Like I can't imagine, honestly. Like my heart just breaks for you with all of your family. And I think that there's a place for this, right? When you do a grief podcast, so you get to sit with people in their grief in a way that like our hearts like recognize each other's hearts. And it's slightly relieving and slightly incredibly painful. It's
well said, because you just say so many. What did you just say? Where I'm just like, you're like, you just said, I'm still grieving, or I'm not I'm still hurting this much. Like, you don't feel like you're far enough along.
yeah.
Like, I connect with that. Like, yeah, you just connect. That's what's great about it. That's why I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's good.
this bullshit world outside of this podcast talking about NFL and gas prices and God knows what. Like, I can't with
There's
it.
so much more
Yeah.
happening.
Like, go home and play football with your kid.
Yeah.
Like, don't go to the men's conference about how to be a better dad. Just go hang out with your kid. What do we do? I come to these conferences like, how do you be a better dad? I'm like, what are we doing
Well,
here?
not here.
We could literally all be with our kids right now. Instead of talking about being with the kids,
Yes.
we can literally just go pick them up right now. Or we could bring your kid to, like, it's insane to me.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, those are the choices, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're choosing to be like, I need to be more educated instead of being like actively willing to do the work to be educated. Like, there's just things like that I'm like, that's that kind of mindset where I'm like, it's actually as simple as people think it is.
I can't imagine.
Choose it.
I can't imagine being you, even before they died. Like, you're 21, 22, newborn, husband, learning to walk again, and you have to go to work, and people are talking about, again, who knows, like the traffic or like, like Tiffany, look at my nail, it broke. I'm like, oh my God. Like, yeah, it's painful, man.
It is. Yeah.
And you know what we do to them? We're like, hi, how are you? I'm God. And inside you're like, you're fucking God. Like,
I literally think this all the time. I was just saying this. I'm like, my biggest flaw now in all the experience, because I've lost my dad and my younger brother too within like the last 10 years. And my experience now is like my empathy has gone down quite a bit, which is unfortunate because like that is a really, I mean, we want empathy in to be humans for humans, right? Like that's what we would like to have. But my empathy, I tell you, and I'm like, here's what I do believe though. Like Tiffany, for example.
I like this. Tiffany's made up, by the way.
Tiffany's made up. No one knows the Tiffany. But like if she, I think that the unfortunate part too is that there is a lot of comparison in grief or just tragic story or loss. And I truly do, where my empathy does come in is I really do believe that like you can't compare because the worst thing that someone has ever gone through is literally the worst thing that they've ever gone through. So they cannot acknowledge or comprehend what you're saying.
Right.
And their biggest loss is what they're feeling as their biggest emotion of loss ever. And so do I ever want anyone to know my loss? Absolutely not. Is it relieving if somebody may understand? Yes. But I believe that if Tiffany's cat died and it was her longest cat forever, and sometimes that feels very
not
minimal,
laughing as you say.
Not laughing. Like if that is very minimal, but like that might have been her one thing that is the hardest thing she's ever gone through. And so I always have to be like, that is literally the worst pain she's probably ever felt. And hopefully, I pray every day that she never knows what this kind of pain, that this might be her worst pain that she's ever felt.
Yeah.
Well
said.
So I always try to go back to like, okay, I may not have a lot of empathy for things, but
the way I explain my empathy is I've never been more empathetic in my life. Like my heart just breaks for, like you just did for me. Like you were very empathetic towards me. But then in other areas, zero. Like I can't. Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't feel bad for you at all.
Yeah.
And so it's a teeter-totter.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this episode up? You want to talk about any more positivity things, how you help people out of the darkness? I feel like we should spend a little more time on that.
Yeah. I truly, my first thing that I ever went to, and it was like days. It was a couple days after the boys died. One of my very best friends, her name is Alicia. She's like the funniest person I've ever met. Not because she like tries to be, she just like is, and we just have known each other since we were in 6th grade. So we just like know each other. And I remember, my friends were in the living room, and I was at my sister's house. And Alicia is also like her heart just like opens for people, and like she loves them. And I remember though, I'm sitting in the living room and they're like whispering, planning around me, and I hated it. And she was the biggest one that was like, shh, like, no, Jessica can hear you. She can hear you. And I'm like, Alicia, I can hear you. And she just like looks at me, and I just remember like, I just start laughing hysterically. This is days after. They're helping me plan my husband and son's funeral. I'm unwell. And I remember her just like her aneurysms. And I was so angry. And then I just started laughing so hard. And it was like immediately like a soul wash. And so like, it was just like a relief in a moment that I was like, okay. And so I sought moments like that of just finding some laughter in some places. Like, I needed to laugh. I needed to be around people who were also not afraid to laugh. I just like needed that. I think that was a really big part when I first didn't know how to do things. And then for me, again, it goes back to, I was in youth ministry during this time. So I was like volunteer youth ministry and youth ministry. And I loved being around them because I could be so playful. Like I found a place where I could just be immature.
You could be yourself.
I could be, really myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I just sought that out. I think that that's what it came down to, is that I just was like, if I'm living, when we talk about pain, my doctor called me the day after the boys died, called me on the phone and said, Jessica.
That same stupid ass doctor that same one that was like, you're going to lose this baby?
No, that was a residential doctor.
Okay,
no.
okay.
Oh, but back to that, I have to follow that up with. So when I gave birth to Jace, Annie was my nurse and she delivered my baby. She delivered Jace.
Yes.
She said, I remember you were in here and I told you would be back here.
Aw.
And I was back there and she delivered my baby.
That's odd.
And she stayed 45 minutes after her shift to deliver him.
Aw.
So I had to wrap
There's
it up
good
because-
people out there.
Yes, great people. Seek the good people. That is the other thing. That's when I said earlier, you have to know your people. And like you have to be willing to let go of those who are not helping you anymore, which is also a grief. But like you have to find and seek the people that are placed in your life for better purpose. Youth kids were like that for me. Casey was that for me when he came into my life. Like, and I think you have to make a choice to seek it out. And it doesn't have to be every day or all the time, but like you have to have moments of those things in order to survive this well. And if you have more children, just like look at them. Literally, I just remember I had a goddaughter, Avery, at the time. That's a whole different story, but I remember like wanting her around me, my nieces and nephews, because they were related to Jace, right? Like they were his cousins. And so I just would like kind of look for him in them and like be like, okay, I'm going to hold on to that. Cause that's like a Jacerism. Like that's what he would have been doing.
That, a Jacerism.
Yeah. And so I think that those are the positive things that you have to start seeking the light. It's there. Go put your face in it.
My problem with the positivity thing is I can do it for a day, maybe even a week. And then like, he burns out and the angry guy comes back or like the miserable guy, like what are we doing trying to be happy? Like there's just this up and down. Do you still experience that? Or,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So much. Yeah. It's not always, but
no, yeah.
But I do think that the goal is to have more of the good than the bad.
Got to keep getting back up and yeah.
So what I was going to say is when you were talking about pain and stuff earlier, and I was listening to one of your, it was an episode, but it was like one of your clips on your Instagram about your brother and the fight.
Yeah.
And also like experiencing the pain. And I remember my doctor called me the day after the boys died and she was like, Jessica, my family's physician. She was also like my like baby doctor, for lack of better words right now.
Yeah.
Like she's the one who delivered Jace too with the nurse. But she was there and she called me and she said, I know what just happened to the boys. I have a prescription ready for you. Whenever you need it, you want to pick it up today. Like it will help you. Like this is insane. Like whatever you need kind of thing. And I remember being like, okay, am I supposed to take this medicine? You know, like, should I go pick up this medicine? And then I was like, no, because like for me, I'm all in. Like if I take medicine, then and like code it now. Eventually the goal will be that I'm off of medication, then I'm going to feel it 100% then. And who knows how it's going to come out then. And I'm like, no, I'm just like all in on every ounce of this pain. They're 100% worth it. I want to feel and know every bit of this. And I remember saying that. I mean, it was hard.
Oh.
It wasn't easier easier said than done. But like, I remember saying that and I remember being like, committing to that. Committing to knowing that I'm going to do this and I'm going to survive this and I'm going to feel it all from right now until however long. Yeah. And I think that's what it is. I think that it's however long. And I think that like when we find pockets of joy, we hold on to them and we bring them in as much as possible. But we allow space for when the bad days are bad.
Yeah.
Like I allow space all the time when the bad days are bad.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Normal.
Yes. And like, here's the other thing. This doesn't end with this story. My dad died 5 years later in a really tragic accident. My brother died 3 years later in a tragic accident. Like the more people you know, the concrete thing is that people pass. And like we will lose people. The longer we live, the more people will lose. And so it's just like learning how to equip ourselves.
Yeah.
So that we can still find light and joy. And for me, I lean on the Lord a lot. Cause like I need a landing pad. So when you're talking about like, what's your landing pad? Find a landing pad where when you are broken, you can be there, but that it's going to help you get back up.
Yeah. The only thing, I think you're amazing. So give God credit, but like give yourself some too. Is my only thing. Cause like, yeah, I think you're amazing. I have one more question, and then do you know how we end every podcast? Do you even know?
You said movies.
Yeah, top 3 movies. Okay.
I have a. You're gonna not like my answer.
Whoa.
Okay, what's your question?
Last question. How do you stay connected with them today? Is it through a dragonfly, through a color, through a song, or anything like that, or anything unique?
That's a really good question. There's a couple things. Jodi was a big Wyoming fan. And so
No one's perfect.
and he always, he literally had a hat that he wore and he creased it this certain way and he had it tilted on his head a certain way. And so whenever I see that sticker or logo or team or whatever it is, like I always know that that's a little bit of Jodi showing up in my life. And then Jace's birthday is 11/11.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's an easy one.
So that is my constant. Like that's every day. I mean, I'm not even kidding you. Not purposely. Like every night and every morning, I almost never miss it.
Is it sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you're like...
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, hey, baby.
Yeah.
I love you, buddy. And then honestly, too, like, I try really hard to talk to my kids about them. And especially Jace.
That's big.
I try to bring it up. And then when they bring it up, sometimes it like startles me a little bit. Like Sawyer brings up Jace quite a bit. And then I have to lean in.
Yeah.
But it's really wonderful when they are. And then when they bring them up. But I would say like those two things. But they're for me, they're just like normally a part of my existence.
Yeah.
I've just like embedded them in everything that we do. They're in our home. So I guess it's kind of hard when I say they're just there.
Yeah.
And like when a story or something comes up, I just freely speak about it. And yeah, sometimes I cry and sometimes I'm avoidant. And sometimes I just let it sit there and marinate for a while. But don't go up and celebrate them at their gravesite. And I 100% celebrate them when we go to Papa's Mountain. So the boys are buried at the family cemetery up on Papa's Mountain, which is in Glade Park in Grand Junction. And we go to it's on the monument. And so when we go up to the monument and where I look at the monument, which is every day pretty much, I get to have a moment from our yard, from our house where we bought our house. There's a beautiful view of the monument. And so every single day when I see that, I know that they're on that mountain and I just think about them too. So, but I've never really put it all together until this moment that all happens.
Oh. See, talking out loud, it will really do things for us. We should, we need to do an episode with Sammy and Casey.
Okay.
No, Sammy won't talk. She won't. So never mind. Actually,
I think that's like so important. I think we should get that viewpoint.
I think so too.
I think it would be incredible.
Maybe I can.
I think there's a huge missing piece. Well, Casey would talk if I would ask him.
No pressure. If we give him a breakfast burrito
burrito.
We can bribe him.
But I think we should consider that, and I think we should do it.
I think those people are...
How long have may I ask how long you and Sammy have been together?
Oh, I think we're coming up on 3 years.
Yeah.
March 17th.
Oh, that's like next week.
It's also St. Patty's Day. That's like the first day we messaged each other on Instagram or something.
Oh, some of those DMs.
Okay. Top 3 favorite movies.
This is where you're not gonna. I don't even have favorites.
You want to
not
do
a
TV
favorite.
shows or?
I'm an annoying reality snob.
Oh, let's go with
I
reality
love
shows.
the drama.
Love is Blind.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They should do Love is Deaf. And like you can only hook up or like play board games with each other.
Yes.
You can't have a conversation with them. You can't.
How they respond in
Yeah.
that. See, that's
Like the physical's there.
yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, now what?
I'd tune in for that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm a huge reality fan. I love it. I also learned that like I don't like to in therapy that I struggle with like not knowing the end of something. So reality shows work well for me, which is I don't read anymore because that same thing I have to read the ending before I can read the beginning.
Wow.
So I didn't messes you up, guys. But so I don't really have favorites. Harry Potter is a standing one.
Okay, Ryan loves Harry Potter.
So we listen and watch on repeat, which is great because I'm comfortable with that. But yeah.
Throw out one more. That was only 2. You listed
Okay.
Harry Potter. This is a sad list. Jess. Like, come on.
I also love The Princess Bride. I would say
Okay,
that.
there you go.
That is one of my very favorites. But
Good one.
I just struggle. I'm like not a. I don't.
Yeah, that's fine. The questions are not for you.
Yeah.
But
My favorite color is yellow. If you need a favorite, my favorite color is yellow.
is it? Is that the same? Yeah, same with Sammy's. But I think we're done. We're just.
Comedy. We have Princess Bride, fantasy. What's your favorite comedy?
Favorite comedy.
Like rom-com doesn't count.
Yeah, it counts. I love a good rom com.
Rom-com. I don't even know, you guys. Casey, what's my favorite movie?
Like, what do you do when you go to bed? You turn the. Do you not have the TV on?
Yeah, Casey watches TV more than I do.
Because I kind of go to bed. Like
we
last
watch-
night, we went to bed with SpongeBob on. Just to go.
No, I'm a phone person.
Oh, you're scrolling.
Yeah, I'm a scroller. I'm like a blog reader.
You have
I'm
the
like
blue. You have the blue light glasses.
sometimes what? Yeah, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep in silence for after the
Yeah,
boys.
Sammy likes silence. When I hear silence, I hear a freaking chainsaw for some reason. Like I can't with the silence.
thank you.
So I have this noise machine just. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for
all the way
having
from
me.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Truly, like again, comparison is not good, but your story, like, I am so sorry. That's brutal. So, thanks for being vulnerable to share it.
Yeah.
And thank you. And life's 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you respond to it.